So why would you store an RO filter system? Well, there's two reasons. One is if you're going on vacation and not going to be using it for several days, weeks, or months, and you don't want that filter to just be sitting there with stale water in it, getting mucky and growing bacteria. And the other reason would be is if you had a seasonal cottage and you shut that cottage down for the winter and relocated your whole filter system to a warm place like a basement, which is what I do here every year. So in the past, what I've done is I've just replaced the filters every year, but that's costly. That could cost over $100 for replacing all 5 filters. The manufacturer really doesn't have a great plan. They say they dry out the filters, replace some. It's just not a bulletproof plan. However, there's a better way. It's easy. I rigged it up and I'm using it now. So in my case, I relocated my whole system to the basement. And what I'm doing is I'm trickling water through this every other day. However, if you're just going on vacation and you're not removing your whole system and say it's underneath your sink, there's a really, really easy way to preserve that system. Just watch this video and I will show you how you can preserve your system while you're on vacation and not come back to stinky, stale water. All right, you may be wondering, what is this rig? Well, these two systems are not permanent here in my house. They are storage. One is for a cottage and another is for a family member. And in both cases, we don't want either of these filters to go bad. So what we're gonna do is trickle water through them. We're gonna accomplish this using these timers, irrigation timers for your yard. And you can set how long and how often you want them to run. And all I'm doing is this line that usually goes to the faucet, all I'm doing is running it through the timer and saying, all right, this timer's set up with this filter, this timer's set up for this filter. So every other day it's gonna run for 1 minute and just dump water right down the drain. And then it's gonna refill back up and it's just gonna slowly trickle water through. If you wanted to do this in your house and not move the filters to another location, say like I said, this was for a summer cottage, the water freezes there, so we actually remove the system out every year and I put it back in. But if you're going away on vacation and you leave the water on in your house, this is a good way to keep these filters fresh. And all you would do is you take this line that is running out of the 5th stage, and where it goes up to the faucet, underneath the sink or in your basement, wherever you have the chance to do it, you put a T in. I put a valve in, a little push fit valve, and then run it to a timer and run a little garden hose right into the sink. And you'd be just dumping water right down the drain, and you set the timer and you just leave the system in place. When you get back from vacation, you just close that valve off, turn off the timer, put it underneath your sink. You don't have to disconnect or connect to things at any time. All you're doing is you're storing this whole thing underneath your sink with maybe, I don't know, 6 or 8 feet of 1/4 inch line or 3/8 line, whatever you have on it. This was a little more complicated because I had to run a water line in my basement. This is like a remote system that I'm doing. So every year I'm going to take this in the winter and put this in here. And when my family goes to Florida, I'm going to take their RO system, their tank and their filter and just hook it up here. So yeah, that's it. So take a look at this, pretty easy, you can do it. Like I said, I don't think there's any other really well documented way to preserve a system like this or winterize a system. So you can do it for cheap. If you have any questions, let me know. If you like this video, make sure you hit the like button, subscribe if you want to see more kind of solutions I have for everyday issues. And if you have any comments or suggestions, criticism, whatever, let me know. I mean, this isn't perfect. This is the first time I've concocted something like this. And yeah, so enjoy the video. On this wall is my father-in-law's RO filter. So what he did at his house was depressurized it, disconnected it, and sent that along with his tank over here. So what I'm going to do is temporarily set it up on my wall. I'm going to plumb into it. Up there is a 1/2 inch PEX, and I'm going to plumb into this, and I'm going to mount the tank right here beneath it. And on the side of it, the wastewater is going to come off the side and the hose and dump down into this drain right here. I'm going to plumb that over and up, and I'm going to collect it with this collector. So that's where the wastewater is going. So now, here's the trick to the whole system. I am going, instead of a faucet on this, I am going to set this up on a timer. I'm going to run maybe a gallon or two through the system, pull it out of the tank, and send it on its merry way down the drain. And this will allow it water movement through the filters. It won't be sitting for 4 months. You won't have to change the filters when he gets back. He'll be just ready to go. And I'm hoping we can accomplish this using this setup. So how I'm going to do this is I'm going to split the PEX. I'm going to tee into the PEX up there. I'll show you how I'm going to do that in a little bit. Tee into the PEX. Okay, let me back up a minute. You probably wonder why there's room for more. Well, I am actually winterizing my father-in-law's RO filter, and I'm winterizing my parents' RO filter. So I've got two side by side. And there's room for more. Send it to me. I'll winterize it for you. Just kidding. Okay, you can do this yourself. It's not that hard. I'll show you. So water's coming in, or water supply to the filter, coming through 1/2-inch PEX. It's going to come in through this one here. I am going to split it with this T. The 1/2-inch PEX is going to go into this valve and this valve. This valve is going to feed one filter. This valve is going to feed the other filter. So then I can shut off each one, and I can depressurize this system, because before my father-in-law comes back, I gotta give this back to him. I'm gonna have to depressurize it, drain the water out of it, give it back to him, so I can shut off the water here and here. But then I've got to downsize this 3/8 to 1/4 inch, and that's what each of these fittings is going to do. It's going to be like that. So 1/4 inch will feed into here. This is the inlet, and this back here, this one is the wastewater that's going to loop around and down, and the tank water is going to be right here. This is going to go to the tank. It's going to go to the tank, and then it comes back to the tank, and this is what's going to go over and down. Well, it might go up here. It might go up to my timer and down, and that's what's going to cycle the water. So I already got this mounted to the wall. Pretty easy. It's two Phillips head wafer heads. Hold it in place. Next step is I'm going to plumb in my wastewater. And that's actually, not only is this collecting the wastewater, it's also collecting the filtered water. So this is how we're connecting it in. I've got a inch, so this is 1.5 inches, schedule 40. I've got an 1.5 inch coupler, and I've got this bushing, 1.5 inches to 3/4 inch bushing. So I'm going to glue this to this to this, and then we're going to run our 3/4 inch pipe in between. All right, so what I have here, got some multi-purpose cement, good for PVC, CPVC, ABS. can give a little zoom on what I just did. Came out of there, 45. Straight piece, 45. Little mini straight piece. 3/4 to 1.5 inch bushing. 1.5 inch coupler. And then 3 feet of 1.5 inch. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to feed my hoses right into the top of that. So it'll look like this. Just going to drop the hose in. Just leave it loose. Just let it just gravity feed trickle down in. Goes down, I drain, down. All right, we got the bottom part figured out. Now we're going to bring in the water from above. The first step is determining, it's just a layout. You know, it's important to lay these things out whenever you're doing plumbing. So the first thing I'm going to do is, sometimes I draw things out. Other times I just mark on the wall. Since I have a plywood wall here, I'm just going to mark on the wall where I want these valves to go. We're bringing the water down from above. I'm going to tee it off somewhere right in here. And then I'm going to feed each of these valves. I'd like these valves to be within reach, so I don't have to climb up a ladder to turn this thing off. So I'm going to have one here and one here. This one's going to feed this filter, and the other one's going to feed the other filter. So here. I marked the wall where I want these valves to go. Next thing I'm going to do is figure out where I want my T to be. In plumbing, it's efficient sometimes to use the T in the sideways position. That way you can have straight shots right into some of your components. So I'm going to bring my PEX down, tee it off, valve, valve. So what I'm going to do next is just draw some layout lines on the wall so I can keep things nice and straight and neat. Anytime you're using PEX and you want nice, neat, straight lines, it's hard to get the PEX in the coil to come out straight. A lot of stores like Lowe's and other plumbing stores will sell straight shots of this. You can get them, I've got them up to 20 feet in length. This is a 10-footer, but I'm going to use straight shots here. It'll keep things nice and neat and straight on the wall. So we're going to come down. This will be our T, valve, valve. So what I'm going to do is just start mounting things and cutting these. I'm going to build from here up. I'm going to leave this long and cut it in place. So I've got I have my layout lines. Now I'm going to hold this up slightly higher than where I think it's going to be. I know I'm coming down to this point. So I'm going to go just a little longer and cut it here. Tubing cutters, very helpful. If you don't have them, get them. Like nice, clean, square cuts. So there's my piece. Another thing that's real helpful when you're working with PEX is these Talon clamps, they're called. Real cheap, super easy to use. Real nice. They're removable, so if you ever need to have an oops moment, that helps. Now the next step, we're using these little PEX rings. You need a special tool for that. Now I'm tapping into my clothes washer line, which is the closest. So I'm gonna shut that one off. Cut into it, drain a little bit of water out. There won't be much in there. Look to see if anything will get damaged below. Nope. These are nail pullers, real handy. Got them on Amazon. The Extractor. They're really good for pulling these talent clamps out too. Maybe a cup of water. Real important with this tubing, you get a nice square cut. You don't want the end burred at all. You want a nice smooth end on it so that the O-ring makes a nice good seal. This cutter works real nice. There's a little ferrule up first, that, and a little ferrule. Push that into where it bottoms out. A couple of adjustable wrenches work for this. Dirty water line out now, which is just a little run from here down. This is the brains of the system. This is what's going to allow us to run the system every day for a certain amount of time. So I need to run a line from here to here. So it's 1/4 inch going into 3/8 again. You can buy all these fittings on Amazon, buy the 10 kind in bulk, really not that expensive. So this fitting, let me explain this one real quick. So this is an Orbit single zone water controller. And I use it for my irrigation, tree irrigation. It's got a regular 3/4 inch hose end on it. Here's the inlet, the outlet. So what this fitting I made up is a brass or adapter. It goes from 3/4 hose to 1/2 inch pipe thread, and then female pipe thread. And I have a male pipe thread to 3/8 inch compression. So I was able to do this in 2 fittings, but then we need to take it one step further and get to 1/4 inch. So somehow I need to mount this up here. Now we gotta take care of the bottom. We've got a female hose adapter. That's gonna be screwed on. We've got a hose coming up here. It's gonna be up at this height. And I've got these EMT Mineralac clamps. Holds conduit in place. And I'm just going to screw that to the wall, and this will clamp around that. Hose. So I'm going to have another one of these controllers right here, which is going to control the other filter. Each one's going to have its own control. Little piece of hose. This hose comes down and over to this one, and then straight down. So we need that much hose. You could use garden hose. I bought some 5/8 tubing, get a square end on it. Let's see if a little heat can help here. And now we're going to assemble this. Oh, let's do one more thing. Let's connect that to that. All right. You hear that? I don't. Water's not running. That's awesome. The tanks are full. That one's full. That one's full. So the system's ready to go. I'd like to do a little manual test here, and to accomplish that, I am going to first turn this on auto, because this will be running starting tonight, I believe. But we're just going to run this manually and make sure it flows down the right pipe. Okay, so manual, drop it down to 1 minute. And let it go, and there it goes. Valve opens up. Look at that, filtered water. Going down the drain. It's gonna run for 1 minute every other day. It goes down into the tube there, pipe. We got 1 inch pipe, over and down the drain. Very cool. Okay, that works. No leaks too. It's dry. Okay, I'm gonna turn that off. We're gonna test this one. There it goes, kicked off. We're gonna test this one. Ready? Manual. Let it go. There it is. It's like the faucet turning on. That's all we're simulating here. Faucet on for 1 minute. Let some water go down. Okay, that's working. No leaks. We're going to turn it off. That just turned off. Now what's going to happen is, we just drew some water out of these tanks. The tanks are not full again. The tanks have to get up to pressure. So what's going to happen now is, both these systems are going to bring in water, run them through the filtration, and fill up the tanks. And the brine water is being put down. There it is. The brine water getting put down the drain. Since I plan on running this for 1 minute every other day, I want to see how much water I'm wasting. So what I'm going to do right now is take my discharge hose and I'm going to manually take some water out of this for 1 minute and see how much water we get. Each of these should be the same amount. This one or this one, doesn't matter. Same amount of line, same friction loss, same pressure to it, so. So I'm happy with that. That is 3 quarts, not quite a gallon in 1 minute, so really not wasting all that much water. Say it's 1 gallon every other day, that's wasting 15 gallons a month. Maybe 60 gallons over 4 months if you're gone for 4 months. Not a big deal unless you're somewhere where there's a water shortage. So if you like this video, make sure you hit the like button, subscribe. I'm posting more videos like this on home and solutions to those that I've encountered. And if you have any suggestions or criticism, I'm open. This is my first time rigging something like this, so it's not perfect. I'm sure there's a better way to do that.